Hi everybody! We are working on our American history units this year and I got a little excited and purchased a lot of material. Now, once we received all of our material, I went about separating them into smaller units so it would be a little bit easier for us to tackle these units this year. I made a special unit just on the Lewis and Clark expedition because the last time we read this, I was really fascinated by it all, especially the women involved in the Lewis and Clark expedition, which are usually not even talked about. But Sacagawea herself was so important in the whole expedition, as well as two or three other Indian women who you barely hear about in the whole expedition, but really saved Lewis and Clark from either getting killed or from having to end the expedition. So I decided to make this a whole unit in and of itself. I found these toys. I love adding any kind of historic toys, not old toys, but toys where the kids can do pretend play and act out scenarios that they've read. And so we picked this one up. And most of the items here are from Rainbow Resource. This is an audio CD by Jim Weiss, and we really like his storytelling, and so we have this one for not just Lewis and Clark, but just things related to the West. Sorry about that interruption, but this includes things related to the Western movement and pioneers and explorers. We have what was the Lewis and Clark expedition, and I really like this series of books. They're really easy to read, packed with information, really great content, and they're also nicely illustrated. And so I'm glad that they had this one for this time period. We have a few historic fictions for my son to read. He's in 5th grade, so we have the Moccasin Trail, and these would be great read aloud books as well, but we are going to be reading the whole Laura Ingalls Wilder series, and so we may not have time for me to read this one aloud, so I will be assigning that to him. We have Sacagawea, and again, this is great for upper elementary and into junior high. And we have the Lewis and Clark expedition, and I think this is something that I might read aloud to the kids, but my son could also read this on his own. We have the History Channel Lewis and Clark exploration game, and I'm really excited about this. I don't know anything about this game. It is different than the Professor Noggins games, but I'll definitely have a review of this game and all the materials that we're using. But it's just when we can add games and toys and audio CDs and different kits and projects to a unit, it really makes the unit that much livelier and more interesting, and the kids really enjoyed those aspects of the unit. Kind of breaks up sometimes the monotony of just reading or the dryness of a book. So I'm excited to add that to our unit. We also have Blazing West. This is another historic fiction. And this has a character in it that is completely fictitious, and then it goes through the journal of Lewis and Clark. So this will be interesting to read. Lewis and Clark in Their Own Words, and this would probably be suitable for 4th, 5th grade and up. We have a picture book of Lewis and Clark, and I really like David Adler's books. They're really nicely illustrated. They have really great content. They're wonderful to read aloud to a young child. They're also great for an older child to read on his or her own. We have How We Crossed the West, The Adventures of Lewis and Clark, and this is another one that is great for reading to young children, and also again for older kids to read to themselves. And then the Lewis and Clark expedition. I think this one will have a lot of really good information. And of course, I really like it when books are nicely illustrated. We also have Discovering the West, The Expedition of Lewis and Clark. I try to have a variety of books from different age levels so that usually I have multiple kids, multiple grades in our units, and this way we've got something that kind of works with all the grade levels. And what's great about something like this is that an older student will still enjoy listening or reading something like this, and at the same time you can read this to a younger student and they can really benefit from the content. Another one of my favorite series, You Wouldn't Want to to explore with Lewis and Clark. I really like these books. I love the illustrations. They're really kind of silly and witty and whimsical, and the content is usually really good, very simple to read. You learn a lot from these books. I like them a lot. We have Lewis and Clark in their own words, and this is one of those situations in history where you have really great original sources. And so if you have an older child, it might be beneficial to actually read the journal from Lewis and Clark. I didn't read the whole thing, but we did read excerpts of it the last time we did this unit, and it was very insightful. It was really interesting. And then the Louisiana Purchase, From Independence to Lewis and Clark. And this one, again, I'm just really liking books that have great illustrations, really nice pictures, and good content. Now, sometimes these kinds of books can be a little bit dry, so it's nice to break them up with something that's kind of silly and fun, or books like this that are written more like a narrative.